We live in a culture where success is measured by the volume of borrowed happiness. You see a neighbor in a new SUV, a colleague with the latest smartphone model, and advertisements whispering, "You deserve this right now." But behind the facade of this prosperity hides a frightening statistic. Most families in the US are just one missed paycheck away from a financial abyss. We are surrounded by things, but deprived of freedom. Minimalism is not living in an empty room with a single mattress. It is the surgically precise management of your resources. It is the rejection of the good for the sake of the great. In this video for Sem Invests, we will break down 9 tough rules of financial minimalism that will allow you to exit the rat race and build capital that works for you, not for corporations. Rule 1. The mathematics of ownership and the triple price law. In the US, buying an item is only the tip of the iceberg. We are used to looking at the price tag in the store or the amount of the monthly payment, but this is a trap for the poor. A minimalist sees the total cost of ownership. The first price is liquidity. When you give $1,000 for a new gadget, you don't just lose $1,000. You lose the $15,000 that this thousand would have turned into in your S&P 500 investment account in 30 years. You are buying a piece of plastic at the price of your comfortable future. The second price is the space tax. The average American home has nearly doubled in square footage over the last 40 years, while family size has decreased. We buy or rent extra square feet just to store things we don't use. In metropolises like New York or San Francisco, the cost of parking for your unused exercise bike can be hundreds of dollars a year. You are literally paying rent for trash. The third price is the cognitive tax. Every item requires attention. It needs to be cleaned, set up, insured, repaired, or simply moved from place to place. Your mental energy is your most expensive resource. When your home is packed with things, your brain is constantly in a background stress mode. Minimalism frees up your mind's RAM to search for new ways to earn and create. Rule 2. The cost per use filter, the death of impulsive purchases. Amazon has made shopping too easy. The buy with one click button is the most effective tool for destroying your wealth. Every such instantaneous press bypasses your brain's defense mechanisms, turning a conscious decision into an automatic consumption reflex. To counter this, introduce the cost per use rule. Imagine you see designer shoes for $600. They are beautiful, but you will wear them at most 3 times to a friend's wedding and a couple of parties. The cost per outing is $200. This is insanely expensive. On the other hand, a high-quality office chair for $1,200, in which you spend 8 hours every day for 5 years, will cost you pennies for an hour of comfort and the health of your back. In this case, you are not paying for status, but for your daily productivity and the absence of costly spinal problems in the future. This filter instantly weeds out status junk. If an item will not be used at least 5,100 times a year, it does not deserve a place in your budget. Either rent it or decline it. Rich people buy assets that bring in money. Poor people buy liabilities that look like wealth but are actually obligations. Any purchase that does not pass this efficiency test is a voluntary transfer of your future opportunities into someone else's profit. Rule 3. The digital fire test and revision of meanings. American society suffers from the endowment effect. We value an item more highly simply because it is already ours. To break this emotional connection, use the clean slate mental exercise. Imagine that you are moving to another city and can only take what fits in one suitcase. Or imagine that all your property disappeared and the insurance company gave you cash. Which of the things you had would you go out and buy again today? The results of this test are shocking. You will discover that 70% of your wardrobe, 80% of your kitchenware, and almost all decorative trinkets are unnecessary to you. They just happened to you. Getting rid of this dead weight is not a loss. It is the monetization of your chaos. Every unnecessary item sold on eBay or at a garage sale is an extra dollar sent into battle on the stock market. And At that moment, you begin to see things not as part of your personality, but as frozen capital. It is this mindset that separates the consumer from the person who is actually building financial freedom. Rule 4: update by necessity, not by calendar. The marketing cycles of Apple, Samsung, and automakers are designed to make you feel outdated. This is a form of psychological pressure. Is your phone 2 years old? You're behind the times. According to industry analytics, the average smartphone upgrade cycle is now 24-30 months, even though the technical lifespan of devices easily exceeds 5 years. Companies spend tens of billions of dollars on marketing annually to lock in the feeling that an upgrade is a necessity, not a choice. A minimalist ignores the release calendar. We update tools only when they stop performing their function or when a new technology provides a measurable leap in productivity. If the difference does not affect the speed of your work, income, or the quality of the result, it's not an update. It's a purchase for the sake of the feeling of novelty. If your laptop allows you to quickly edit video or write code, you don't need a new Pro just because it came out in a new color. The difference between an annual smartphone update and an update once every 4 years is tens of thousands of dollars in saved capital over the span of an investment cycle. For example, by setting aside just $800, $1,000 every 3 years and investing it at 7-10% per annum, in 15-20 years you can have a sum in the range of $30,000, $50,000. A car that reliably drives you to work doesn't become worse because a neighbor got a model with an updated radiator grille. Remember, your car should help you earn, not force you to work for its maintenance. Rule 5: creating systemic barriers for capital. In a world where credit cards offer cashback and bonuses, we are trained to spend more than we planned. To be financially stable in the US, you need to swim against the current. Most people think they are saving by getting 5% cash back, but at the same time, they increase their overall spending level by 20-30%. As a result, they lose more than they earn simply because they spend more often and more easily. The first step is the de-automation of spending. Delete card data from browsers, unbind Apple Pay from your phone, create friction. If you have to stand up, find your wallet, and enter 16 digits manually, the probability that you will close the tab and forget about the unnecessary purchase increases by 60%. This is not about restrictions. It is about impulse control. Every extra action is a filter between a desire and a decision. The second step is the automation of creation. Set up an automatic transfer from your main account to your brokerage or 401k IRA retirement account the very minute your paycheck arrives. You should feel poor immediately after receiving money. It is a paradox, but it is precisely what forms capital. You live on the remainder rather than investing the remainder. If the balance on your checking account is zero at the end of the month, that is fine. If that zero occurred because all free funds went into investments, minimalism and cash management means that money never sits idle. It is either working or it isn't there. And the earlier you implement this system, the sooner you start playing not the game of consumption, but the game of accumulation and growth. Rule 6: inventory shock numbers do not lie. We often justify new purchases with the phrase, "I hardly have any of this." But average American households contain more than 300,000 individual items. This is madness. And the most paradoxical part is that most people cannot say exactly what they have and in what quantity. This creates an illusion of scarcity where there is actually an excess. Try conducting an accounting month. Count how many t-shirts, pairs of socks, cups, pens, and charging cables you have. Write down these numbers. When you see in black and white that you have 42 t-shirts, the desire to buy another one on sale will disappear by itself. Because numbers kill illusions much faster than any advice. Awareness is the enemy of impulsivity. Inventory turns an undefined "I need something" into a concrete "I have an excess." This exercise returns control over your space and your wallet to you. Every item in your home should have a right to exist based on its utility or deep aesthetic significance, not because it cost only $5 at the supermarket. And as soon as you start thinking this way, purchases stop being a reaction and become a decision. You stop accumulating things and start selecting them. This is a completely different level of managing your life and your resources. Rule 7. Saving on ownership through the sharing economy. Ownership of an item in America is a long-term service contract. A lawnmower requires space in the garage, gasoline, oil, and blade sharpening. But how often do you use it? Once a week? For 4 months a year? The rest of the time, it just takes up space and quietly depreciates, turning from a tool into a liability. A minimalist uses the advantages of the modern economy. If you need an item less than once a month, don't buy it. Borrow from a neighbor, rent it from a specialized service, or hire a professional with their own equipment. This is not skimping on yourself, it is a rejection of extra obligations that bring no real return. This rule is especially relevant for expensive hobbies. Boats, campers, professional photo equipment, all of these are black holes. For capital, you pay not only for the purchase, but also for storage, maintenance, insurance, and constant loss of value. By renting these things, you get 100% of the pleasure without 100% of the headache associated with storage, insurance, and depreciation. You use them when they are actually needed, not because you already have them. And at that moment, an important shift in thinking occurs. You stop owning things for the sake of ownership and start using them as a tool. Your task is to consume experiences, not accumulate hardware. And this is exactly what distinguishes the person building freedom from the person who just accumulates obligations. Rule 8. Defining your personal comfort ceiling. The main trap of the middle class in the US is lifestyle inflation. As soon as your income grows, your expenses magically pull up to it. You get a raise and immediately move to a more expensive apartment or buy a higher class car. As a result, your financial freedom remains at the same level 0. And the most dangerous thing is that this happens unnoticed, under the guise of a logical life improvement. Minimalism requires establishing a hard ceiling. Define what level of housing, food, and leisure is optimal for you. And when your income grows, and with the right approach, it inevitably will keep your expenses at the previous level. This decision is not about restrictions, but about controlling the direction of your money. Most people increase their quality of life as soon as the opportunity arises, but this is exactly the moment they miss the chance to change their future. Because every extra dollar spent on comfort is a dollar that could have been working for you. The gap between your growing income and your fixed expenses is your speed of reaching wealth. A person who earns $200,000 but lives on $80,000 will become a multimillionaire many times faster than one who earns $500,000 but spends every last cent. And it is this gap that determines whether you will be financially free or just a high earner. Because high income without expense control is not wealth. It is just a more expensive version of the same dependency. Your freedom is in this gap. Do not let things narrow it. Rule 9. Liquidity as the highest form of luxury. In American culture, it is customary to brag about things. But the greatest luxury in the modern world is the ability to say no at any moment. This is the level at which you are no longer dependent on circumstances and others' decisions, and the less you need for life, the stronger this position becomes. No to a toxic boss. No to a job that sucks the life out of you. No to a real estate market that is overheated. This opportunity is provided not by a collection of watches or handbags, but by your net worth. Minimalists measure their wealth not in dollars, but in years of freedom. If you stopped working tomorrow, how many years could you maintain your current standard of living? This metric is what shows how truly independent you are, rather than just appearing successful. When you have savings for 5 years ahead and a diversified stock portfolio, you gain a peace of mind that is unavailable to the owner of the most luxurious mansion living on credit. Because their standard of living is held up by obligations, while yours is held up by choice. Financial stability is the absence of fear for the future. It is a state in which you do not make decisions out of pressure, but choose from opportunities. And the shortest path to this peace lies through reducing the list of things you supposedly need. Practical plan, your roadmap to financial silence. Transitioning to this model of life does not require radical sacrifices. It requires a system. It is not about giving up everything, but about the conscious selection of what truly has value. And the earlier you build this system, the sooner you start seeing results in numbers and in the sense of control over your life. Conduct an audit of subscriptions. We often pay for services we don't use. Over the scale of a year, this amounts to hundreds and thousands of dollars. Cancel everything you haven't used in the last 30 days. If you need it, you will subscribe again, but you likely won't even notice the absence. And most importantly, you will start seeing how much money used to leak away unnoticed. Set a one-in, one-out limit. If you decide to buy a new item, one old item must leave your house. This will stop uncontrolled accumulation and force you to think twice. Is the new jacket truly better than the one already hanging in the closet? Over time, this rule changes thinking. You start not adding things, but replacing them only when there is a real need. Create a freedom fund. Start small, gather $1,000. Then, an amount for 3 months of living. Then for 6 months. This is your shield. This is what gives you the opportunity not to depend on every paycheck and every decision of an employer. Every item you gave up in favor of this fund makes you stronger. And at some point, you begin to realize that the true value is not what you bought, but what you can afford not to do. Hidden benefit, the winner's psychology. When you clear your life of the unnecessary, an amazing thing happens. Your standards of quality grow. A minimalist does not agree to mediocrity. If they buy an item, it is the best in its class, durable and functional. You begin to surround yourself only with what is truly valuable. Over time, you notice that quantity gives way to quality, and random purchases simply stop making sense to you. Your home stops being a warehouse and becomes a space for living. Your finances stop being a source of anxiety and become a tool for realizing your dreams. You begin to feel control instead of pressure, and this changes not only your money but your state of being. Remember, at the end of the journey, no one remembers how many things they had in the garage. We remember moments of freedom, travel, communication with loved ones, and the deeds we managed to accomplish because we were not chained to our debts and property. Minimalism is not about having less. It is about being more. Start today. Your future self will thank you for every saved dollar and every freed up square foot of space. This is the SEM Invest channel. We are not just here to count money. We are here to build a life that belongs only to us. Like this video if you are ready to take the first step toward your financial independence, and subscribe so you don't miss new strategies for smart investing.